Hey guys, welcome back to Data Products. We're experimenting with a new setup here. My camera. I can check myself here. We've got a nicer camera, so we can actually kind of. The other one just seems so blurry. So, got to give you the best experience possible, right? So in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with in Shiny Apps a technique called brushing. So brushing is a way to interact with some of the data sets, more so than just changing the display, but actually like clicking on things. So we're going to do a couple of quick examples. So this can be a vignette style video, again, kind of shorter than before. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right. So let's do a new Shiny web app, and we'll call this brushing. And create that. Let's clear all that. I don't know why this loaded all old data there. Clear everything up here. Okay. So first thing in our Shiny app, we're going to make a UI fluid page. Then we're going to say the plot output is plot, and our brush, so this is the brushing thing, plot brush, and then table output, we're going to say is going to be our, oops, put some parentheses there, it's going to be our data, and that's it for the UI. So then we're going to work on our server function input output session, and then we're going to say output plot is going to call render plot ggplot, and we're just going to use the mtcars data set here. And our aesthetic is going to be weight in miles per gallon, then genome point. Oops, I already had that there. And then res 96, and then output data. We're gonna save data. Render table. Brushed points for mtcars, and our input plot brush, and that's it. And then we're going to say Shiny app UI server. Oops, don't need a period. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to run. Could not find brushed points. Bruised points. Brushed points. Let's try this one more time. Could not find ggplot. Why not? Maybe we gotta load library ggplot2. Save. Run app. Could not find mtr cars. Man, the typos today. Holy cow. mtcars. Hey! Okay, so what the brush points, this allows you to interact with the graph. So as you can see, we have, for our plot output, we added a brush, which is in our plot brush. And our table, we added a table output underneath it, which is down here. And so on the server side, we have a render plot, which is this. We're saying, okay, build a plot with mtcars, which is the motor trend car data, and our aesthetic is going to be weight in miles per gallon, which you can see weight on the x-axis, miles per gallon on the y-axis, and add genome points. So this is all that typical ggplot stuff. But then we said, okay, also render a table, which we called that we wanted and the user interface, where we had brushed points. So that allows us to select a point from the empty cars and our input brush. So it's saying allow us to use this cursor here to do it. So as you can see, I can now select a spot, and if I select nothing up here, then nothing comes down in the table. But if I select 2 points, then it says, okay, this is the miles per gallon and this is the weight, which we can tell from the graph, but it also gives me all the other data from that row, right? So I can select as much or as little as you wanted. You can move it around, to select certain things. If I was like, okay, this is an interesting data data set. What are these 3 outliers here that have very high weight, very low miles to the gallon? So you can see we can get the rest of the data. We can see that they're V8 cars, so cylinders. That's what a V8 stands for, 8 cylinders. Compared to up here, we have 4-cylinder cars that have better miles per gallon, things like that. So that's our first example. We're going to run on just 2 examples, kind of in a row here with the brushed example. But that's our first example of what you could incorporate if you wanted someone in your Shiny app to be able to actually select data points. So this would be nice, if we did a data set that had, say we were saying population or COVID vaccination rate and COVID cases, and then you wanted to see what states were what points or whatever, you could be able to select and say, oh, this is Mississippi and Louisiana and New York or whatever. Okay, so we're new file, Shiny Web App, and we're going to call this brushed 2, and we're going to clear this all out, and I'm going to clear that out. Okay, so we're going to do our user interface. I'm going to say fluid page, plot output, plot brush equals, and the brush is that cursor that we were just using, plot brush, and then we're going to say double dbl click equals plot reset. So we're telling it what to do if there's a double click. And so now a server function input output session, and then let's start our function. Selected is reactive val rep false n row empty cars, and then we're going to say observe event input plot brush brushed is brushed points empty cars input plot brush all rows equals true selected. This is cut off here. Oh, not selected, just selected. Then next line we're going to say selected brushed, and so that's above the enter sign, the straight up and down line. Selected. Put a space just so it makes it look a little bit nicer there. Okay, and now we can close that off there, and then we're going to say observe event again. So this is saying if this event happens, do this. Input plot reset selected rep false n row empty cars Let's end that one. Okay, now we have our output. Plot. Under plot. UT cars. Select. Selected. ggplot. MT cars. Aesthetic. WT. MPG. So this is just the graph that we had above, essentially. We want it to be a scatter plot, so we use GM point. Our color is going to be select. So you'll see what this does in a second. Scale, color, discrete, limits equals true, false. Oops. Put that back up on that line. Then we want to close, but we want to add the res equals 96. Close. Close. And then our typical Shiny app UI server. All right. Place your bets on the number of typos. I'm saying 2. Run app. What? I see 1 typo. It worked, but I have too many parentheses right there. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so as you can see here, what we've done now is we've added color to our previous graph here, and so we have our weight and our miles per gallon. We have the same plot, but we've defaulted that everything is false, so nothing is printing up, right? So if we click on one, data replacement 0 rows data has 32. What does that mean? So my output Okay, so color has to be spelled the British way. No. Okay, so the only error I could find is that I had this indented improperly. So if I go back and forth between what I typed and my source code, I don't see anything else. This I had in here originally, but watch, let's see. Let's paste this and then save it. Oh, there we go. Okay. But we'll see though if it. Oh, okay. So what this what this brushed to is doing is we've added this true false and color changing, right? And so this is through the selected function, right? So what we're doing is we're saying, all right, if you select something, before we changed our output down in the table, right? But now we can have it so we've changed it to change the color. We could also add from our last script if you wanted the table output too. And you could have it change color and have the table output. But we've also added a nice feature to this, and this was that double click plot reset, right? So we have it here, and where else did we put it? Plot brush, brush selected, plot reset, right? So what happens here is before, we could just kind of click around, but as you can see, we'll get to a point where we're like, oh, we've selected everything, now everything's pink, right? And so we've added double click, which allows you to just start over by doing a double click, which is kind of nice. So this is just a second kind of brush thing. So if depending on how you want to do it, if you want it, it's nice to be able to, if somebody's just selecting certain points, to be able to change them. Like if you wanted to add them to the table, to change the color so they can see which points they actually selected, as opposed to, in the last app you'd select, and it would show you this, but then if you selected something else, you wouldn't know what you selected beforehand unless you remember. So just kind of another cool feature to allow you to better interact with your audience people in terms of scatter plots and how you use scatter plots. This is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Well, I have a lot of edits to make. There's a big section of me troubleshooting. So I don't know how long this video is because I just kept recording. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Another cool function with our Shiny and how you can make interactive graphs and data products. So we'll continue on with a few more little vignettes like this on making cool Shiny products. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one.